Hi, I'm Tone,
Hi, I'm Oscar.
Hi, I'm Zora Voyce.
and we're with Teens Pact, PACT standing for Positive Action and Choice for Teens. We offer reproductive healthcare services such as HIV testing and counseling, Plan B when Plan A doesn't work, and condoms.
Yeah, and today we're with Zora Voyce. You might have seen her on the subway, but today she's in the studio with us. We're going to be talking HIV advocacy, activism, dating, and so much more. But we really want to find out, will we pass the vibe check?
We will see.
Yes, we will.
It's so good to have you with us today. There's so much we want to get into, but could you first and foremost tell us how you got into this work? Why is HIV activism so important to you?
That's a huge question for me. I was born with HIV, so it's been part of my life my entire life. I found out I had HIV when I was 9. So what really got me into it was just feeling suppressed over the years, people telling me that I shouldn't be telling people I have HIV because it would be used against me. So I wanted to really flip the script and actually use my status to empower myself and make change.
Got you.
What were you told about HIV when you were younger? Did this stigma come up, or was it something that was considered negative? How did it come about?
Yeah, because at such an early age, 9, and then being told you have this thing, what language was even used?
So I believe my mom told me I had HIV at 9 because I used to ask her when was I going to stop taking my medication because it was like really disgusting. I didn't know how to swallow pills yet, so I used to chew it.
Wow.
And my mom had this fake expression at if like never, like a guilty type of face. So she had my doctors tell me I had HIV. And I honestly don't really remember how the conversation went. I just remember at the end them saying I have HIV and the room went quiet. And it gave the vibe that they thought I was going to feel negatively about it. But honestly, I didn't feel negative about it because it's something that I always had. I just wanted to know why I was taking my medication. So to answer your question, was the vibe negative? My mom, the next day when I found out, so after I found out I had HIV, the next day, my mom told me not to tell anybody. And I asked her why. She said, because people can be mean. So that kind of set the tone for me.
And how did that make you feel about what your future would look like?
Yeah, I was mostly concerned about when it came to dating, because when they first told me I had HIV, they made it more like a immune system condition that you can manage. And I feel like a lot of people should start looking at HIV in that way, that it's an immune system it's an immune system condition that you can manage. But when it came to dating in high school, I honestly didn't really tell people I had HIV in high school because I was afraid of that getting out and people bullying me. So I would only tell people that I didn't go to high school with.
And what has been your experience growing up with HIV and its impact on your mental health?
Well, before I was public about my status on social media, my mental health was really bad. I also was dealing with mistreatment in my household.
Wow.
So I moved out at age 22 using HASA. HASA is a program for people living with HIV to help pay for their rent.
Wow.
So that really helped with my mental health moving now because I was dealing with the mistreatment from my family members. And yeah.
And this was because you had HIV?
No, I honestly don't know. I think you don't really know why people mistreat you. They just do it for their own, maybe they going through something themselves. But I don't think it has to do with everything tied to HIV. It's just like the personality of them.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Are you still in contact with these people now, or no?
I mean, they're my family members, so for me, I'm still in contact with them. And I try to have a more healthier relationship with them, but at the same time set boundaries. And they respect my boundary a little bit more because they're not so accessible to me. They can't, like, if I don't want them speaking to me a certain type of way in my home, I ask them to leave politely.
And I love that. It's like you can either talk to me nice or you can leave. It's that
Your positive energy only in my home.
exactly. Love
As
you
you
from
should.
afar. Love you from afar. So you grew up being told that you had HIV at 9, and you moved through wanting to tell only people that you didn't go to school with for your sense of protection. How did that influence your sense of identity and self-worth? Because did it feel like juggling 2 lives?
Yeah, when I was younger, I definitely had like a different persona when I was in school and when I was at home. I didn't really have a sense of like individuality as a teenager. It was more about like just following what my friends was doing. Even though I think I'm being a little bit too hard on myself too. But I just see how I am now. I'm so independent now. I have a strong sense of self. And compared to like high school, I was still like self-discovery. So yeah.
And how do people take that now? Now you're like, I'm standing on business, I'm independent, and if they're used to you being so like doing what everybody else was doing, is that a shock to folks who are having to relearn you?
Well, I don't really engage with people that I went to high school with anymore. I'm 27 now, so like I know I look young, but I say to myself a lot, and everybody that is in my life are like new people, so they get to meet me as who I am now. Ever since my campaign came out on the trains, with HIV Starts With Me campaign, a lot of people from high school reached out to me saying that they're really proud of me, and that really means a lot to me because during my teenager years, my biggest fear was people in high school knowing I have HIV. So to see that they want to send their blessings my way really means a lot to me.
Let's get into relationships.
Yes.
Yay.
You've been waiting.
That's the tea.
Everybody waiting for that.
That's the tea.
Start us off.
Okay. What has been your experience been like when it comes to dating and forming romantic relationships? Because I know that, you were talking about high school and how you were dating, but what is it like now?
Well, since I'm public about my status, it made disclosing my HIV status much more easier. When I wasn't public about my status, that was the most difficult thing for me when it comes to having HIV. Because I use my HIV status, like I tie it to business in my career, and I'm a Capricorn, so we
Oh no.
we all about business. We all about business, so it's a way to empower me, and also it helps me disclose my status sooner because when you're dating someone, one of the first question like, what type of job do you have? And I can just like sneak that in there, like, hey, I'm an HIV advocate. I work with this, and that. So it's been much more easier, but I'm also polyamorous. So polyamory is when you can have multiple partners with the consent of everyone involved. It's less about the sex, which sex is included, but it's more about just being able to love openly.
I love that. I love that you said everybody's consenting because there are some people who are in unconsensual polyamorous relationships, right?
Well,
We call it
that's just
cheating.
That's cheating.
That can be challenging being young doing that because in that community, mostly like older adults in that community. So that's the challenging part. Also, another challenging part would be since I'm so public about my HIV status, a lot of people are not comfortable being with someone who's so open about their status because of the HIV stigma. They don't want like to be associated with the title of having, like, they don't want to feel like other people think that they have HIV too, or just like family judgment, like their family judging us for being together or things like that.
What does that mean? Does that mean that when you tell them that you're HIV positive, they reject you, or they want you to keep it hush hush?
Yeah, keep it hush hush.
Wow, so they want to be with you in secret?
Yeah, which I really don't like.
Yeah,
Who
who wouldn't want that?
Imagine trying to show your partner off and they're like, actually, keep me off the gram.
Keep me
It's
off
like
the
post me
gram.
on Instagram, but they don't want to post me on Instagram.
That's wow. That's
You gotta
disrespectful.
people to show you off. You gotta be shown off.
Exactly. Now you also said some tea about polyamory. What does that look like for you? What's your structure?
So that's a wonderful question. I think it's really important to be open about like being flexible with your structure. But ideally, I would like to have a husband, like an open marriage. My husband would be the father of my children, and then I have secondary partners that I connect with in different type of ways. It can be like kink, or it can be like maybe we like doing a certain hobby together, like graphic design. We love graphic design. Because I don't really believe one person can fulfill all my needs. And it's not just about my needs, it's about I love connecting with multiple people. I love different personality, different vibes. So I'm just like I just love people.
And how did you come into knowing that you wanted to be polyamorous?
That's a great question. So I had a job working somewhere. I'm not gonna say the name of the job.
Okay.
But I was like it was an internship from college, and I had a crush on two guys who was friends, and like I would dream about them all the time. And I'm like, damn, I need to like take a class or like go to counseling or something for this. So I got into the sex positive community. And I went to a class that was called How to Add a Third, which was more for like couples who wanted to add a third person into the sex life. But it really touched on like it's okay to have feelings for multiple people because like they sex positive and like poly kind of positive. So I just started getting into that community. But then COVID happened, so then I couldn't really go to the events anymore. But just being around like-minded people really made me feel more accepted about having being poly and having HIV at the same time, because people living with HIV sometimes they feel like they're not allowed to have their desired relationships, like they need to settle for what they get. Like even that could be like abuse or like mistreatment. Is like you should be grateful that someone even wants to be with you.
Are you seeing anyone right now?
No.
And so you're solo poly and doing your thing. Are you on apps? How do you meet people?
I'm on Facebook dating. Okay. I've been on Facebook dating since it first came out, like in 2021.
That's why.
And I just feel like I need to like actually go to environments where like-minded people are at and actually find more mature people, like the sex positive community. I'm thinking about maybe a computer science engineer type of guy.
Wow.
Okay. I want somebody who like think outside the box, like innovative, like somebody who, like to challenge things, like to make a change in the community. Also, since I'm a HIV advocate, I wanna my brand. I wanted to really evolve into a lifestyle brand, where I showcase my children growing up on social media, and my partner would have to be on the same vibe as that. So like want to post me on Instagram and they do talking videos about like how is it like dating someone with HIV. Like that's like my love language.
You're looking for someone who is willing to show up, right? Consistently show up. And I think that the fact that you've laid out your standards is really, really dope, because earlier you were talking about how people move with thinking that you have to settle for whoever approaches you because of the stigmas around HIV, and you're so staunch, like, no, I don't have to do that. I actually know what I want, and either this person's going to be here or I'm going to be doing me. And I absolutely love that.
Thank you.
It's very empowering. Very empowering.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it's not the conversations we hear about HIV. And I think it's also really dope that you told us, when you come here, don't ask me no basic questions. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Because, like, I'm here to tell my story. I want you to get content that you can't find anywhere else. Like, you can look online and find out what HIV is. You can find out how you get HIV. Like, HIV 101 questions. Right. Like, I want to really bring my perspective to the table, which nobody else has.
Right.
I like the idea of us both being on some type of treatment, so that we can both see that we're both serious about protecting each other.
Gotcha. And what does that mean, protecting us?
Oh, using PrEP. PrEP is a medication that people who don't have HIV can take to prevent getting HIV.
In your experience, how do partners typically react and disclose their HIV status? What have been some positive or negative reactions towards your status?
You want partners or just anybody?
Anyone.
Ooh, yeah, honestly.
No, I told a lot of people, so. So I guess I start with like the most worst reaction would be like, "Oh, you still alive?"
Wow, that's insane. I'm so sorry.
You're laughing about it now. In the moment, were you like, how were you feeling?
See, I kind of prepare myself for those type of responses. So I have a nonchalant type of personality too. So I'm just like, yeah, just regular tone. Just told them that people with HIV can live long, fulfilling lives if they take the medication. And then the first guy I ever told I had HIV, and when I was 15, he said to me, let me tell you the story though. So me and him was in his bed in his mom's house, because a teenager, obviously, sneaking me in the house in the morning.
Whoa.
So I wanted to tell him, but like I couldn't like say it because the word HIV used to like really shake me up. So after like 10 minutes, I wrote it on a piece of paper and I gave it to him. And then he said to me, you telling me this made me more attracted to you, but just know that nobody else going to accept you for that.
Let me
Wow.
get this straight. Man says, you told me this, that's hot. I think it's hot, but no one else is going to want you.
Exactly. And back then, I kind of believed it a little bit, but I challenged it. I was all about challenging things. So I'm like, even though he's saying that, I'm going to just see what other people say too. So that was kind of a toxic relationship.
That's real. And so when you decided to like challenge that and essentially prove him wrong, what was that reception like?
It's funny because he one of the people that wrote me about my ad and congratulating me about it. He probably didn't think it was going to turn into something like that.
He was like, wow.
Oh, what was your question? Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just like, so I think you answered it. Essentially, when you started challenging it, he must have felt like an idiot. But I guess it was never really about your status, right? It was more about power and control over you.
Yeah, power control dynamics, yeah.
And I'm glad you got out of that relationship. That sounds wild.
Yeah, and like he would like tell other people I have HIV too.
Wow.
Like if he knew like other guys liked me, he would like try to tell them that I have HIV to make it real like they don't want to be with me.
Wow. Yeah, good riddance. And on the flip side, what were positive reactions?
Oh yeah. Almost forgot about that. Well, since I'm public about my status now, a lot of people, they really admire the work I do. They interact with my social media content. They give me feedback, like on things they want me to talk about. It just made me more attractive, I feel like, because I'm more empowered by my status. Positive reaction. Just being just being memorized by me,
Gotcha. So, because you're so public about your status, potential partners that come in already have like an awareness of who you are. So what do those conversations look like from there? Because you're kind of like moving away from what does getting to know you look like in those conversations?
I mean, sometimes people don't know I have HIV. Like if I meet somebody outside at a bar or just like going about daily life and they want to talk to me, usually I get them my Instagram and they find out that way. And then what's the second part of your question?
I guess then what do those conversations look like? Now they're on your Instagram, they see this, they see who you are. How does follow-up typically look like?
Regards to HIV?
No, regards to dating.
With regard to dating. Just getting to know each other, like our careers, what we like to do. Maybe do like a video call to see each other. Just regular dating like anybody else would do, I would say. It just helps when me disclosing my status earlier on. It helps with the anxiety of getting to know somebody. Because like, if you continue to talk to me, that says that you're okay with my HIV status. So like that's not going to be an issue in the future. Well, hopefully it's not an issue in the future. But sometimes it is, because sometimes people, they think they can be okay with something, and then later on they're not as okay. And plus, I'm growing as an advocate, so a lot of people, they like their private life. So they may not feel comfortable with my status being, when I say status, I mean like my public status, like my advocacy status.
It goes back to what you were saying about people wanting to love you like in private versus the attention around you as a HIV advocate and an influencer.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned people's uncomfortability with your status and being public, what do you do when you bring up testing and a person gets weird about it?
That's a great question. What I do, I like to show my results, because it make them feel like, oh, okay, like this is a comfortable place, a safe place to get tested, and I let them know that it's okay if you get something, just as long as you get treated for it. Do what you have to do to get treated for it. Me having HIV really taught me to be very accepting of all STDs, because I wouldn't want somebody judging me without being knowledgeable about my STD.
What would you say to someone with HIV who's nervous about discussing their status with their partner?
I would say I'm big on like doing self-work. If you realize that's something that's challenging for you, you should really explore why that's challenging for you. Maybe see a counselor, or like I'm really big on like note taking, like doing it in your phone, or like some people, like my sister, she loved the notebooks there. So like really write out your feelings, and like try to think of a structure of how you can make disclosing your status easier. But I'm gonna be completely honest, like I don't really have the best answer for that, because I'm public about my status, and I feel that's the best way, for me at least, about disclosing my status, because I can tie it to my career. That make me more comfortable disclosing my status. But I know that's not ideal for everyone. But definitely, I would say the tone of how you disclose your HIV status matters. If you're disclosing your status like in an insecure type of tone, the person gonna reciprocate an insecure tone. But if you say in an empowering way, then it more likely they will feel empowered with you about your status.
I respect that, because, people sometimes can be very judgmental, and I think it depends on the response that you get from that person. So navigating that is very important to keep you safe and also that person safe as well.
All right, Zora. So what advice do you have for people who are dating folks who have HIV?
My advice is just to be more empowering. Don't say things like I feel bad for you or sorry that happened to you. Saying things like just know you're not the only one, and just be interested in actually getting educated about HIV, maybe thinking about being on PrEP, because PrEP is a medication that people who don't have HIV can take to prevent getting HIV. So it could feel more like a shared responsibility. The person won't feel that it's all up to them to protect the HIV positive person, not all up to the HIV positive person to protect the partnership.
So there should be some type of camaraderie between the two, balance, like support, mutual understanding. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds like a relationship to me.
Yeah. So how do you balance your mental and sexual health needs with demands of a romantic relationship?
Mental and sexual needs in a relationship. So I guess like a lot of self-reflecting throughout the process, making sure like self-reflecting on the relationship too, and then coming to my partner and letting them know my needs, and also making them feel comfortable in expressing their needs as well. It's not the most easiest thing to do, but it's something I'm definitely working on becoming better at doing.
So have you ever practiced that before, or is it something new that's coming about?
I did it before, but I feel like I have a more better understanding of my needs. Also, since I'm poly, sometimes I kind of step back from being poly because it's not like the norm. So like it's hard since I find it difficult to find other poly people. Sometimes I kind of suppress that part. But now, 'cause I got into a monogamous relationship last year because I thought maybe I just didn't find the right person. Maybe that's why I'm poly. But then when I was in a relationship, I was like, you know what? Actually, like this doesn't feel right for me. So now it's like I want to really like stick to it, like stick to my belief system, because it's all about self-exploration. And sometimes societal pressures can get in the way, or just the norms, like how things are supposed to be. So it's always like a mental fight with that, like doing what you want to do, what feel like authentic to you, and then doing things that you feel is more like socially acceptable.
But I love that you're practicing what you're preaching, because a lot of people wouldn't want to do that. Like being poly is something that, like you said, a lot of older people do. But have you ever found another partner that is also poly?
Well, when I was in the sex positive community, I was at like a poly event, because they kind of like collab a lot. They can intersex a little bit. It depends on the people. But I met some guy and I dated him, and it was just me and him, but we were like open to like adding others, but we also wasn't like sexually compatible. So I would have sex with a different guy, but then that kind of did dim the relationship a little bit, because sexual compatibility is like a really important part in relationships. So it didn't work out for that, and just other reasons too.
I really like that you're adamant, you acknowledge that, relationships exist to fill different needs, and that there's no pressure for one person to attempt to be everything for us. And I think that regardless of whatever relationship structure a person wants to be in, acknowledging that is so important, so tapping into people outside of your partnerships, and this is mostly in response to people who get into relationships and then everything else doesn't exist anymore. It's just them and their partner, and that creates burdens on relationships, So I love that I'm hearing that, I'm actively looking for my needs to be met. I'm actively not trying to put somebody in a position to be everything for me, and I'm retaining my sense of identity through it all. I think that's really dope.
Because not only are you advocating for HIV, but you're advocating for yourself. You seem like a big advocate for your needs and your wants. So it's really empowering, and I just want to thank you and give you this platform to say, Zora.
Thank you, guys. I don't know, you might be passing the vibe check.
Oh, I think we are. What role do you think community support plays in helping individuals born with HIV navigate love and relationships?
Wait, who exactly?
Us. How could we do better as a society?
Oh, as a society.
Yeah.
Really, like, try not to only market HIV about gay man to gay man. That's like the big thing, I feel. Also, that's a big thing, yeah.
So I'm hearing that you want some more diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
Some DEI initiatives.
Also, like, people born with HIV too. I don't feel like we talk enough about that. People being born with HIV. A lot of us were born with HIV. I'm also a part of the Lifetime Survivors. Lifetime Survivors and like Dandelion, they both are an organization for people born with HIV. And they just growing and growing and growing. So we bringing more awareness to people like me.
Copy. And what do you want them to know, us to know about y'all?
About people living with HIV, right?
Yeah, whatever that is. You said that.
I think just like don't associate it with being a gay disease. Just associate it as an immune system condition that can manage, that you can have a long, healthy life living with HIV, and they can have kids, and the kids won't have HIV if they're on treatment.
Well,
Thank you.
this is our time.
But I
Thank
think
for
you guys
being
know
with
that you guys doing the work. That's why that was a quick question for me, like telling you guys what to do. You guys doing amazing work.
us. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. And we really just want this conversation to deepen. I think that even for me, I learned new things here, and I don't ever want to get comfortable thinking, oh, I know, so that's it. I think there's always something to learn, and I hope that, you know, for folks who are watching this, that they take something away from it too.
I definitely took something away from this. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to me and for inviting me on your platform.
Absolutely. Now, so I got one last question for you.
Okay.
Did we pass the vibe check?
Yes, absolutely. 1,000%.
Mission accomplished.
Now, again, for real though, before we head out, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Zora Voyce.
Copy.
And you can find us at Teenspact. Teenspact on the gram, Teenspact on .com. And that's it for today.
Teenspact on the TikTok too.
Teenspact on the TikTok.
I need to follow you guys on TikTok. I only
Yes.
follow you guys on Instagram.
We everywhere. We have a YouTube, we have a Facebook, TikTok, IG, and a website. All Teenspact.
I need to look
Teenspact.com.
into it.
Org.
The org.
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 Yeah. But that's it for us. Thank you so much for being with us. We go bye bye.